we're putting this record out in two pieces, so two parts.
Okay.
So we still have the second half to finish.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up too. We'll get back to the touring here in a second.
Yeah.
You got 3 songs out right now for this Nervous EP. You got Nervous Pieces and Artificial. That's out for everyone to listen to right now. I was curious about that, how you were going to be releasing music. Last time we talked, we even talked 2 years ago, as recent as 2 years ago, how much the industry had changed about releasing music, the importance of social media and streaming that has only gotten, it seems every month becomes more and more important and everything. We talked about that, with the comparisons of YouTube's being out now and TikToks and everything in between, right?
Yeah.
But so much has changed again in 2 years of how music is released and what it all means. So walk me through this current project you're on right now, this album you said that you're going to be doing 2 parts on.
Yeah.
I'm really excited I didn't know that, so I'm very excited to hear a little bit more about new Daughtry music. And just in general, why you decided to release it the way you're going to. It is the Wild West of releasing music these days. There's no fucking wrong way. It's just everyone's figuring out what works for them and their audience, which I think is great because it's more of that direct to audience, band to fan, as Edsel Dope told me. Band to fan has become a thing even more so than ever. So what is what's the plan here? What's the strategy? What's the chess move for Daughtry and new music?
Well, I think going into it, it was all intentions of doing a full record, and for all intents and purposes, it will be. And once we got started, it was a bit of a late start on writing this record due to touring, and then, not to go down a dark path, but I lost my daughter to suicide, and
yeah, sorry about
so
that.
when we started writing for this record, when I started writing with my producers, it was a bit of a slow start, and when we landed on Artificial, we'd already written like 5 or 6 tunes at this point. Pieces was one of them, but it didn't feel quite ready, and I don't know if I was actually ready to really talk about it at the time. And Artificial just felt like, holy shit, this feels like the freshest thing we've ever done. It's so different than anything that it's either going to work extremely well or it's going to not at all. And I think it would be a great way to test the water, so to speak, on the direction we're really trying to go with this record. And I don't think we should wait. I don't think we should wait till the record's done to release this. So we released Artificial like way in advance. And ironically, it was our first #1 at rock radio. So that was like, oh shit. So this is our fan base is on board with it. Rock radio is on board with us coming out swinging and coming out harder. And it's where I've been, trying to kind of get my way back into for years now. And it became one of these things where we were like, well, it kind of slowed down the writing process because now we're supporting that. Now we're promoting that. And I'm looking at, the Ronnie Radkes of the world that are releasing, a single every few months and haven't put out a record since 2017. And I'm going, there's no fucking rules. Like, yeah, I mean, the goal is to have a full body of work by the end of this, but, we can trickle out the singles here and there and still work on the record. And we're still touring. We went out with Breaking Benjamin. That kind of put a bit of a pump on the brakes, but we had already had the first half done. And I was like, well, what if we released it in 2 halves? Like we still haven't announced the name of it yet. But we put out part 1 and part 2, and I'm so stoked on, like, part one is like my favorite thing we've ever done. And it's I don't have the date yet, but it's sometime in September because it's going to be coming around the time that we go back out with Breaking Benjamin and Stain. And it was like, it gives us the time to not rush that second half. We can really dig in, and because these first six songs, I was like, I think we set the bar for ourselves pretty high, and now it feels even harder to land on something that feels fresh. We're like, oh shit. So the writing process now is like, this doesn't feel like it lives up to this half. So let's move on to something else. And it's kind of given us that freedom to really dig in and explore and not feel like we're rushing something to just finish an album, because it's like you said, the streaming is more, I mean, it's just the way. I mean, there's no getting around it. There's no escaping it. I mean, yeah, people are collecting vinyl on the daily now, and it's cool because at the end of the day, it's really nice to have that physical body of work, but nobody's in their car listening to vinyl. Nobody's walking through the airports listening to vinyl. You know, you're streaming, you're listening to on your AirPods. And so I kind of just was like, let's just try this. And you know, it gives us and then once we come out with that second half, we can just put it all together in one big body of work. And I know Atreyu did that recently. They did like 3 different EPs that led up to one big body of work. And I think it's cool because it gives the listeners and the fans something to kind of sink their teeth in and not feel like you're given everything at once, and then you've got like 2 songs that get the attention, and then the rest of it's kind of like forgotten about in a week. And but I don't necessarily say that that's the way. It's just the way that we're doing this one, and it may bite us in the ass, or it may work out well. But it just felt like there was too much pressure to like finish the record and get it out, and I didn't want to do that. And once I kind of pitched that to the label and was like, hey, what do you think of this? And they're like, oh, I think we can do that and still, you know, meet all the DSP. I don't pretend to know all this shit, but all the DSP requirements for the record and the promotion and getting all that, the assets and done in time, and still getting the playlistings and all that. I'm still trying to figure this ball game out. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a let's throw the spaghetti against the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah. No, it's fun to hear you talk about it.
It sounds great when you say, what's your chess move? Because I'm like, I don't know if it's that methodical.
Well, I got a question.
It doesn't always need to be.
So you started the last album on Daughtry, right? Your own label.
Yep.
So that's got to be a lot more work on your own self. And then recently I saw that you partnered up with Big Machine, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work from the last release to this? Is it a little easier? Or is it how was it on the last one? It seems like it'd be a lot more work.
That's a great question. That's a great question. It was you don't realize how much a label does until you don't have one, and it was an uphill battle, but we did really well with that record considering we did it all on our own. I think we had 2 top 10s, 1 top 15. Like that was in a format that we hadn't touched in 15 years. So that felt like a huge win for us. And then when we came out with Separate Ways with Lizzie Hale, Big Machine caught wind of it and was like, hey, we're big fans. We'd love to work with you. Let us work this song. And you know, we've got the means and the backing to get this thing, you know, as much attention as we can get it. And it did well. I think we got like top 5 or something like that, top 6. And with a cover, and they approached me like, hey, we would really like to do your next record if you're interested. And I was like, I don't want to. it was very important to me that because I was the thing about doing Dearly Beloved on my own was that I had nobody telling me shit. It was, I'm writing what I want to write. I'm putting out what I want to put out. You either like it or you don't, but this is the record. And I don't want to lose that anonymity. I don't want to, autonomy. I don't want to lose the ability to have my vision fully, whatever word I'm looking for. I wanted to see that vision through, and and
you don't want to compromise.
Yeah, so I was like, if you're in for the ride and you are here to support this vision, then let's fucking go. But if you're here to tell me your idea of who we are and what we should be doing, then I'm not interested in it, and I would rather do this on my own again. And they were like, oh no, we love what you're doing. We just want to be a part of it. And I was like, in that case, let's fucking do this. So it's been great. It's been, they've been fully supportive of these really fucking expensive videos that I have in my head and these ideas. And we're about to do another one. And it's probably one of my favorite songs we've ever done for our next single. And I cannot wait for people to hear it. But it's been an incredible partnership, and it feels like a team that fully supports what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to do artistically. And that's not always the case with a label. So that was the attraction.